Hi, I'm Clay from the Cello.online, and today we're going to talk about scales. Is there really any point to them? Are they really that important? Why do people ask for them? Why are they always on auditions? Why are teachers teaching them? Why do people consider them to be the absolute most important part of what we do, the sort of the Bible of what we do, the basis of everything? I think we have a vocabulary problem of sorts. I'll explain why. There's one school of thought, and it's an acceptable one, that you're going to play all that stuff in a piece of repertoire anyway. So why not just practice it in the repertoire? I mean, all those runs and different things, like in Haydn, C major and D major, what's the point of practicing them separately if you could just go practice them there anyway, right? I mean, the scale is not the end-all, be-all. The scale is there to serve playing the piece of music, so just go learn the piece of music. Like, why scales? And, I know with my own students, we've spent a lot of time on scales, on 1-octave scales or 2-octave scales and things like that. We try to add some variations. I know in college, we did tons and tons of variations on 3 and 4-octave scales and different things. But I was talking to a professional recently, someone who's a professional performer, performs, on a regular basis. And we're talking about scales and why they're important. And it came out in the conversation that when someone like that, someone who plays at a very high level, who, like people that play professionally in orchestras or quartets or soloists, when they say scales, they mean the whole gamut of the scale thing, which I'm going to get to in a second. I think sometimes lowly mortals like myself, when we're assigning a scale, we say you need to practice your scales. We're talking about single note scales like this, or maybe even a 2-octave. Little G major there for you, okay? And so we say that's a scale. And so, of course, if that's it, and this is what my big epiphany was that I want to share with you, is that, if that's really it, you're just doing the single note, the 8 notes of the scale, whether it be major or minor, and you're going to the top and back and just doing like 1 or 2 variations, well, perhaps there's not much point to that, actually. What would be the point if that's the end of it? And so as I'm having the conversation with this person, I realize that when they say scales, okay, and that scales are important, they're not just talking about single notes between the tonic, okay, just the 8 notes. It's the scale, it's the variations, all the variations being equally important. You don't leave any of them out. The arpeggio, okay, the thirds, the sixths, the octave. So if I say I'm going to practice my G major scale singular, okay, it means I'm going to practice this, and I'm going to practice this, okay, and I'm going to practice maybe some triplets. All right, maybe I'd still stay on the single notes, but I do some kind of other sort of skipping variation. Ooh, and that's why you should practice them. Maybe I'm going to do a 1-finger scale. All right, and that's just the single notes, the notes of the key, right? Going between G and G. What about thirds, sixths, and we didn't do the arpeggio yet. Let's do that first. Okay, that'd be the next thing. And that's only 1 fingering. Let's do a different fingering. That's pretty similar. Let's start our first finger. I see why you should practice all the variations. And how about with my thumb? All right, on and on and on. Still not done yet. Thirds, sixths, and octaves. Let's do the thirds first. And then the sixth. How about the octaves? Oh, definitely been neglecting those. Whew, that's bad. All right. Anyway, so when I say I'm going to practice G major scale, all right, singular, it means all of those things. Then the skin, I can actually feel my fingers feel so much better. I feel like I just know the fingerboard just a little bit better now. That's what it means to practice a scale, okay? And so I think, you know, the people that are setting the standard for playing, the people who are performing all the time, are meaning one thing when they say scales are important, and then it gets kind of watered down, you know, I hate to say it, at my level. That I probably shouldn't say that. But it does, right? I mean, we think of scales in this kind of simplistic way where it's just this. Okay, I did my G major scale. Well, not really, all right? You did one minuscule, tiny little piece of it, okay? You have to do all of it. And actually, probably when you say G major scale, as I was also having this conversation, that we also mean relative minor, E minor, going through the whole gamut, the whole routine with the relative minor. And then you've done the scale, okay? Okay, so what scale are you practicing? Okay, what variations are you practicing? Have you started practicing thirds, sixths, and octaves? Are you doing multiple octaves? Are you adding variations, different rhythms to it? Maybe doing some skips. Are you doing the arpeggio? So important. Don't leave the arpeggio out. Let me know in the comment below. If you got some value out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Lots more videos about cello. And if you are interested in learning more about playing scales in thirds, sixths, and octaves, I have some quick tip references all about those. And you can see those in a playlist right here.